Well, hello there, Rip City. Welcome into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you today, getting you ready for Memphis taking on your Portland Trailblazers here in just a few hours, all in your home of the Trailblazers. Rip City Radio 620. The Blazers looking to have a good game, a little bounce back, if as it were, because last time Memphis came into town, we all remember how that one went down. Wasn't very fun at all, right? It was a situation where by the time the game was over, everyone was sitting there going, yeah, this is embarrassing. This is not fun. I don't like the fact that the Blazers went out here and just got throttled by Memphis. Not tonight, though. Hopefully, the Blazers can rebound from that and continue their hot streak. They got to win over Toronto. They got to win over Washington. And now here they are looking to take on the Ja Morant-less Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant not playing in tonight's game. So unfortunate for those of you who were expecting to see him. But also, again, fortunate if you're a Blazer fan looking to get the job done tonight. Before we get into tonight's game, let's look at what happened just a few nights ago here at Moda Center as the Washington Wizards came to town. Your Portland Trailblazers, they grabbed the 112-97 victory over the Wizards, and it was one of those games where it took a minute. Like, Portland just felt like they weren't really getting into it early. It's kind of struggled out of the gate. It felt like it just. Yes, they had a lead. They were up 31-24 after the first quarter, but it just felt like they were never really truly getting traction to get going, right? Like, they were moving forward. They just weren't getting full traction, all four tires spinning the way they wanted, right? Now, they did end strong in the first quarter. It ended with three straight threes, Dwop, Thibault, and then Dwop again. So they had that 31-24 lead. But then the Wizards, they came out and they went on an 8-0 run to start the second quarter. So you're like, okay, 8-0 run. They got the lead back and the Blazers rebound, and they did. They got the scoring back. They outscored the Wizards 28-25, and they led 49-49 at the half. Denny had 10 points, 4 rebounds. Anthony Simons had 16 points. Donovan Clingan, 4 points and 9 boards at halftime. Now, this is where things got interesting, right? Because the third quarter starts, and you look down, and you're like, where's Jordan Poole and where's Chris Middleton? Right? The Wizards decided that they didn't need to play 2 of their starters, and they sat them out. And they played just 10 minutes in this game total, all in the first half, and you're like, that's weird. That's weird. Now, you're watching the game, seeing if it will change. It didn't. Nope, not at all. Now, midway through the third quarter, they pulled the rest of their starters. Alex Sarr subbed out with about 5 minutes left, and you're just like, okay, I see what you're doing here. And the Blazers had an 89-70 lead after 3. Now, in the fourth quarter, the Wizards tried to make a comeback. They made it close. They made the Blazers kind of, pucker for a minute. A.J. Johnson was the only starter for the Wizards who played in the fourth quarter. He had just 8 points in this one. But the Blazers were able to hold off the rally from the Wizards, and grab that 112-97 victory. Now, you look at the Wizards side of things. As we said, A.J. Johnson had 8 points. Chris Middleton had 4 points, 3 boards in his 10 minutes of actions. Alex Sarr, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 11 points from Keyshawn George, 9 points on 3 of 6 shooting from Jordan Poole. Reminder, he played just 10 minutes. Tristan Vukovic had 17 points off of the Washington bench. So on the Trailblazers side of things, I thought Chris Murray had a hell of a game. 5 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals. He got the start for Toumani Camara in that game, and again, did what Chris Middleton does. What I love about Chris is the fact that he can go out there and he just makes the right plays. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He goes out there, does exactly what coach asks him to do, and gets a good end result because of it. So shout out to him. He got the game ball on Monday night. Denny Avdia getting to play a full game against his former team. He had 15 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 11 points, 13 boards from Donovan Clingan, which was wonderful to see. 16 points from Shaedon Sharpe, and a couple just absolute rim-grazing dunks. It's like I thought he almost hit his forehead on the rim a couple times. He got so high. Anthony Simons, he had 16 points in the first half, 14 points in the second to end the night with 30 points. He also had 2 assists and a rebound. 11 points from Scoot Henderson, 5 rebounds, 3 assists as well. 15 points for Dwop Reith off of the bench. He was 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. And then another massively impactful game from Matisse Thybulle. Matisse Thybulle, he had just 9 points in this one. He was 4 of 9 from the field, but he did have 5 steals, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. I mean, between him and Chris Murray, that was 9 steals right there. That in and of itself, that beats Washington, who had just 6. So Portland was able to kind of take care of the ball in this one. They had just 8 turnovers. Washington had 16. They ramped it up defensively, and that really ended up being the difference in this one. If you are a Trailblazer fan, right? And ignore the camera on YouTube. The card is not full. Things are going crazy. I'm mixing it up. I'm having some fun. Using multiple cameras now. Things are fun over here as we try to have some fun. But we'll see what happens tonight, though, against this Memphis Grizzlies team. No Ja Morant. That doesn't mean that they can't turn heads here and there when they want to. That is kind of what they do and what they're good at, right, is going out there and making you work. And we'll see if they do that again tonight against the Blazers. But I like the fact that Portland got the win. I do not like the fact, not at all, that Washington decided to pull out starters in the second half. Have no idea what's going on there. I get it. I get that it's tanking, so I do know that. I just don't like what it does and the precedent that it sets when it comes to winning ball games, right, and tanking, and what it means for the future of the league when you're like, oh, okay, we're going to just say, yeah, we played our players, so you can't knock us for that. You can't fine us, but we are going to pull our guys out of the lineup, with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, and just let our bench players go out there and get it done because, good job, guys. That's what you're here for. That's so annoying. That's so annoying. I don't like it, not one bit. Not one flipping bit, but it happened. It happened, and I guess we have to deal with that. And the NBA is not going to do anything about it because there's nothing they really can do about it yet. I would hope that maybe one day they can sit there and go, yeah, we need to fix that. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. But not right now. It's not going to happen right now. But again, Blazers go out there, got the win. Things will get harder, though. Things will get harder this road trip, or excuse me, the rest of this homestand. You still got Memphis, still got Cleveland. Like it's gonna be rough. Portland's gonna have to work. We know that, and I think that they can. I thought the last 2 games were a little odd for them because they didn't get going, and that's just not something I felt like we have seen from this Blazer team over the last few weeks. They've gone out. They've got the momentum on their side a little bit, where things looked in flow. Right? They may have picked up some losses, but things looked like they were flowing. Like in that Knicks game, they looked like they were playing the game that they wanted. You look at the road trip and that they were on, and it's like, okay, yeah, you go out there and you have some close games, but things are looking good. Golden State, Detroit, what have you. Toronto, Washington, yeah, you got the wins, but things just felt a little off. I would hope they can go back to kind of what we saw, when they went out there and they forced overtime against Cleveland and had an absolutely incredible game, one of their best losses, if that's a thing, all year long, right? If they can play like that over the next 4 games, things will be good. I think if they play like they did against Toronto and Washington, the next 4 games, Memphis, Denver, Boston, Cleveland, are going to be rough for the Trailblazers. Absolutely rough. And it all starts tonight with no Ja Morant. No Ja Morant for Memphis, and we'll see how that impacts the Grizzlies and how they adjust. We know that Coach talks a lot about, hey, when those stars are out, the next guys step up, and it becomes just a little bit harder because you weren't expecting it. So we'll see how the Blazers react to that. Also, when we hear from Coach here in a few minutes, we'll get an update, see if Toumani Camara is good to go, see if he's ready to play tonight. He did sit out that win over Washington. I would love to see him back in the lineup tonight because, man, if I can get Toumani Camara and Matisse Thybulle minutes, I'm happy. I want to see more of that in my life just for defense alone. This is Blazers Game Day presented by Coors Light. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it is time for the Coach's Corner. Head down to the press conference room, hear what Coach Billups has to say. All coming up next on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Time now for the Coach's Corner. We're going to wait patiently. Coach Billis will be up at the podium any second now. When he does, Michael Shacker will turn that audio up and we will hear what he has to say. I'm sure we'll be getting an injury update to see if Tamani Kamara and all those guys who are listed as questionable will get going today and whatnot. And hopefully Blazers can be semi-healthy, get out there and get a victory, because that's going to be a nice one tonight. It'll be nice to get a little bit of revenge against Memphis, get a good W here before the rest of this home stretch, because, boy, like we said, still got Denver, still got Boston, still got Cleveland. That's 3 rough games right there. Rough games. And Chad talked about it a little bit, that game on Friday, and we'll talk about it after Billups too. But, man, that nod to the 90s finals team, that's going to be pretty cool. Pay some respects to those, because as I told Chad, like a lot of people in the building every single night, those are the teams that really started their fandom, right? Now, I was a youngin in the 90s. Let's see, in 1990 I was 4, so in 1992 I was 6. I knew who the Blazers were. I knew who Clyde was. My fandom was still young. It was that late 90s team, though, Rasheed Wallace, Dave Stoudemire. That was where my fandom really got over. But I'll stop talking. Here's Chauncey.
Still out?
Jeremy's out. I think that's it.
Yeah, from the questionable people.
Yeah.
Where do you feel like is there an area you feel like where you guys really sort of made an improvement on defense to catch your stride? Is there a single thing that you can say, we started to do this and we got going?
Man, there's probably a couple areas, but if there was one thing, I think our pressure just stayed. You know, we started the season off and our pressure was cool, but it was too. Pressuring everybody, and then, guys were throwing the ball up the floor, and then there was no pressure on that next guy, and the next guy. And we was putting so much pressure, for lack of a better term, on Tamani. And then, we got away from that. We said, if he's going to do that, and they're setting screens on him in the backcourt, everybody got to get up, And I just thought when we made that adjustment, we started to do a better job just defensively, period. And then obviously our big thing, has always been finishing the possession. When that ball goes up, we learned way early in the season that we were playing defense longer than everybody else, because we were playing for that 22 seconds. They shoot it, they get it back, you get another 14 seconds. I mean, it just was wearing us down. So the nights that we did a much better job of finishing a possession with a rebound, obviously that changes things.
So on the pressure stuff, it's like some of it's just dialing it back a little bit, right? But also it was, it seems to me sort of a understanding of the responsibility of it, maybe, as opposed to saying like, oh, Tool, he's going to light this dude up and we'll figure it out back in the. Was it sort of, I don't know if buy-in is the right word, but an appreciation of what that takes from you guys?
It's funny. I showed early in the season, I forgot which team, but they pressured. A couple of teams really pressured us and bothered us. And my thing has been the whole time, you guys are so good, man. Y'all in the NBA, y'all are so good. If somebody lets you play a comfortable game where you could catch it where you wanted to, you can drive where you wanted to, you could shoot it where you wanted to, how good would you be? Well, there's a couple teams that didn't let us do that, and they sped us up, and we're turning it over, and we're shooting crazy shots, and we're just all over. And I'm saying that's what it looks like when you make people uncomfortable. And they started to kind of believe it and see it, and I would show it a lot, show it tomorrow, show it the next day, and, we would just go over it. I'm saying we have to make people uncomfortable. We really do. You guys are too good. And they started to really buy into that part, but it wasn't just the ball pressure. Like, I'm talking about like even the 5 men, that are facilitating up top, like pressuring that guy. Like how easy is this pass where he can't see anybody and he's just, okay, now how easy is it if you have to turn it back and just everything. And, we made a real concerted effort to change those things, and it helped us, made us better.
Chauncey, in that same vein, over the last couple of years, you guys have gone to a lot of zone. This year, though, you, depending on the night, you're top 8 in switch frequency, but you're also top 8 in efficiency after switches. What's kind of changed where it's not just 2, or it's not just Denny help? What has changed to where you can effectively switch night in, night out, and not only do it, but be effective after the switch?
Yeah, I think our readiness, understanding, we're going to be switching a lot of times. Sometimes you're switching and there's a bigger guy rolling our smaller guy down, scramming out on the backside, not just let that guy play one-on-one, being able to double after the switch if they try to punish the matchup. I think just our readiness, in all of those things have been a big deal. And, when we were on that run, we had Jeremy and 2 out there. And to me, 2 of the best perimeter defenders out there. So you're able to really kind of take 2 guys off the floor or minimize them. Well, that changes every team. If your best 2 guys are being guarded by elite defenders, that just kind of changes a ton.
2 of your worst three-point shooting nights came against these guys, including that 4 for 42. Fluke or something they do to bother you guys?
No, I thought we got shots, so, we've had some rough shooting nights. Obviously those 2 are two of the roughest, but I would love for us to be able to get those same looks tonight, and hope for a better result. But we shot, 7%, something crazy, something crazy. That's a fluke. Yeah, everybody's a much better shooting team than that. So now, don't get me wrong, they're very scrappy. The way that they play offensively, they are ripping and running. More drives than anybody in the league, more crashes than anybody in the league. They're tough. They're tough in the way that they play. So it can wear you down a little bit, So maybe that has something to do with it as well. But I would love to get those same looks tonight, and hopefully we shoot it much better.
Chauncey, a lot of them made over the last couple of weeks about the type of offense that they run in Memphis now, where it's more egalitarian, a lot more motion, significantly less reliable on a single guy. What is that like in the NBA world? So many teams run a lot of the same stuff, but they differentiate in a lot of different ways from most other teams.
Yeah, they have, and they're playing well. Obviously, a really good team. The adjustment that they made have been really nice, But I also, think that it's I don't know, minimized or taken a little bit of Ja's superpower away, if you will. I think he's one of the best pick and roll players in the league. They don't run a ton of them, as much anymore. But obviously, Jaren Jackson has taken a step up. But yeah, obviously it's working. And they're shredding teams up. They're scoring a whole lot of points. So, that's for them to judge that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, there you hear Coach Billups today. The biggest part of that was right at the beginning. We may have missed it, but just in case, he did say Tumani Kamara is a go tonight, so he will play. Jeremy Grant is out. Also, shout out to my buddy Keith, who texted me during that. I love when people text me like questions and comments during the show. It's like, hey, yay, we got listeners. Good job. Thanks, Keith. And he's like, hey, thanks for the shout out on the podcast. That's right, the 1977 podcast that I do. I had to give Keith a shout out. I got to give all my buddies, my Blazer fans shout outs, because you guys keep it real and we have some fun here, man. So keep it going. Keep it going. This is Blazers Game Day. If you want to join the conversation like my buddy Keith, you can jump in on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. We'll jump right there. Of course, you can follow me on social as well at Chris J. Burkhardt. Send all your questions, comments, and concerns there. We're going to take a quick little break here on Blazers Game Day, though. When we come back, it's time for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. I also want to listen to Matisse Thybulle and Anthony Simons after that win against the Wizards. They had some interesting tidbits to say, and it's always good to hear from Matisse now that he's actually on the court. Gosh, isn't it just nice to watch him play? And the future for him, I think it's here in Portland. We'll talk about it when we come back here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. If you want to join the conversation, head on over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. Like, share, subscribe, jump in, send us your comments there. And, of course, you can follow me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. And you know what? The last two games have been pretty awesome, and Matisse Thybulle has been a big reason for that. It was nice to see him against Toronto. He got just 6 minutes, but he had 2 steals in his first 3 minutes of action, and then he goes and gets the game-winning block, and you're like, yeah, this guy defensively, he is legit. And then, last night he goes out there, gets a couple points, but 5 steals again defensively. This guy is legit. Tonight, Tamani Kamara is a go, so he'll be playing, so maybe we get a couple more. We saw it, obviously, in that last possession against Toronto, but a couple more moments where we get to see 2 absolute elite defenders on the floor together and see how they can work off one another, because that would be pretty nice if you're a Trail Blazers fans. You know what else might be pretty nice? The future of Matisse Thybulle in Portland. It's time now for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. So Matisse Thybulle has been absolutely wonderful over the last 2 games. It's been so nice to see, especially when you went out there and you missed a year of action. You miss an entire calendar year. You come out and you don't really skip a beat, especially on that defensive side of the ball. And he did talk about, the cognitive load that you have to deal with as an NBA player and how fatiguing that can be, because there's just so much going on, so much that your brain has to, go through and calculate out on top of the physical things that you have to do as an NBA player. But he hasn't skipped a beat, and he's looked really good. But this is tonight. This is game 70 of 82, meaning there's just, 13 games left in the season, including tonight. And I don't know if that's enough time for Matisse to truly show what his open market value is, right? I think there is value there. I think there's people who like him. But I don't know if, playing 12, 13 games at the end of the year is really what gets you your next contract, which is why I fully believe. Again, I want to reiterate that this is not sourced. This is not me talking to anybody. This is me just kind of reading what's out there, understanding how the market works, looking at the deals, that he has an $11.5 million player option next year, to which I fully believe he picks up. I don't know what his open market value is. I think fully healthy, he's probably looking at maybe about a $15, $16 million deal, but he's not fully healthy. And so what is his open market value? I think it absolutely benefits him to just take that 11.5, not go out there and risk losing money on a deal, and see what he can do with a full year under his belt, because maybe he increases his value a bit. There's a lot of teams who will like him, right? I could also, if you're the Blazers, not only that, if you can convince him to take that deal and pick up his option, now you have some trade fodder too. Like, hey, pick up your option, and you know what? Come trade deadline, maybe we'll try to get you to a contender if we're not in playoff contention, right? Or we're going to guarantee you this role. But I do think there's a future for Matisse Thybulle next year here in Portland. It just makes a lot of sense to me, if you are Matisse, to pick up that player option, have that guaranteed money, and then, really have an entire year of basketball to show your worth to the open market. And then maybe you can go out there and you can sign your 4-year, $60 million deal or whatever it is that gives you a nice little pay raise and some financial security again for the next 3-4 years. I don't know if he goes and hits the open market right now, again, after having missed a year with various injuries, if anyone's looking at signing him to a long-term deal. So I think this is a classic situation of take the money and bet on yourself and see what you can do with it. And I really, truly think that, again, I think next year he's a Blazer. That's what my gut's telling me. That's what the guts tell me. We will see. Again, I want to reiterate, that is not sourced information. That is not me talking to Joe or anybody else. And, hey, so what do you think? That's not me asking Matisse. That's just me sitting here and wondering how the things will play out and how he will take care of business. And that's just what I think. And I would love to see that. I really would. I would love to see another year where Matisse actually gets to play more than just the last 15 games of the year, and shows that maybe he can be a part of this Blazer core. Because that's another thing that I believe. I believe that if this team continues to build the way they want, that not only does next year, benefit Matisse Thybulle, but you can't tell me that lineup doesn't benefit with Matisse Thybulle in the long run, where Matisse Thybulle, who is historically a rotation player, gets in, you sub Tamani Kamara out, and you don't lose a beat defensively. I like that. I like that a lot. I think Blazer fans like that a lot. I like it. I like it a lot. Shout out to you movie fans out there. All right, speaking of Matisse Thybulle, when you have good games, you get walk-off interviews. Let's hear what he had to say following that game against Washington.
Bamboo is standing by.
Matisse, 2 straight wins tonight was very convincing. What was key to this victory?
We just played hard and we stuck to the scout, honestly. We tried to keep it a simple game and keep it about us, and we did that.
Last night you played 6 minutes. Tonight you played 22. How did it feel?
It was tough. I'm not going to lie, it was tough. I mean, we got through it. And I'm grateful for Chauncey for letting me play through some mistakes and just stay out there. Oh, my goodness. Hi.
It's been a minute since you had a dunk in a live game. That had to feel good.
Yeah, honestly, I was scared. Like, I got out there so fast, I was like, let me just get the ball in the hoop.
Just so you know, cognitive load has become a thing, especially in tonight's broadcast. So how's your cognitive load right now?
It's lessening. Like with each game, like every minute I'm out there, each possession, I'm getting more comfortable. And like I just get back to doing what I do.
All right, you haven't got a chance to do this, so go ahead and take that pen, my friend, that I'm giving you. And that's right there for you to sign. We've been waiting for this one a very long time. Oh! That is the most Matisse thing I've ever seen in my life.
And you can't see it, but he doesn't sign it with his signature. He signs it with a smiley face, which, as Brooke said, is the most Matisse thing you can do, is sign it with a smiley face. Because if you watch the interview, that's what he's doing the whole time, is he's smiling. You can tell that he's happy to be back in the lineup. He's happy to be out there making an impact. And again, the cognitive load, everyone picked up on that. I picked up on it. Obviously, Brooke and the crew picked up on it. Because that's the type of player he is, would say something like that and literally talk about how important it is. The mental side of the game is just as important as everything, right? And the mental side gets a little bit easier with every single minute you play. And I just thought the biggest thing out there was he talked about, he appreciates that coach was willing to let him play through his mistakes. And he doesn't seem like a guy who makes a lot of them either way. So, it's just so nice to see him out there, see him making an impact and understanding what kind of player he can be. I think Portland fans were excited, quite honestly, when the trade happened and he came over from Philly, because he's a good basketball player, man. He is a legit all-NBA defensive player. He can turn heads on that side. You've seen it in burst already, how good he can be. I've watched him sit here and kind of like a safety will trick a quarterback into making a pass. He could trick a point guard into making a pass. A point guard doesn't think that he's going to be able to close the ground, and then he closes the ground, or he looks like he's going to come up and get up on the pick and get up on the defender, but he fakes it and then he drops and boom, there's the ball right in his hands because he's tricked the point guard into making that pass. Like, this guy is a legit defender. That is why in 2020, 2021, and 21-22, he was second team All-NBA, All-Defense. Again, legit defender, and I think that's kind of the future that Tamani Kamara has as well. I fully anticipate at some point, if he's not on the team, he's at least getting votes because he's been so good defensively. And so you pair him with a guy like Matisse, and you got two really, really good defenders. Now the Blazers, they held on to grab that 112-97 victory. A big part of that was Anthony Simons, who went out there. He had a game-high 30 points, 16 in the first half, 14 in the second half, kind of led the Blazers, and he also talked to the media after the game.
Man, was it nice to come out in a game like that and just take care of business and not have to deal with any drama?
Yeah, came a little scared at the end, though. But a little bit, just a little bit. Now, they're getting closer. We like, all right, come on now. You know what I mean?
When they got there within 19.
Yeah, like, they got within 12. Like,
in the fourth?
In the fourth. Yeah, I was like, all right, come on now. I don't want to go back in. So, but other than that, I think we played well. Obviously, a team like that young will come off to a hot start and be energetic, and then we sustained that, and they was able to pull away, for a majority of the third and fourth quarter.
How big was Reith in that first quarter, giving you guys 8 points after you guys fell behind a little bit?
His ability to space a floor, changed the way teams guard us, and we use that to our advantage. And we just tell them every time you open, just keep shooting the ball, no matter what. So that just gives the defense to think about something else than rolling big like DC.
Within 3 of Dallas now, 2 of Phoenix. Right there, man. But you got to beat winning teams. You guys haven't defeated a winning team since February 6th. Sacramento, February 6th. Yep. You got Memphis coming up, Denver.
Like I said before, we got our work to do. It don't matter who. Like I said, we got to continue to string together some wins and put ourselves in the best position to be that. So whether it's going against Memphis or Cleveland or Boston, we got to go through it to get what we want.
Yeah, and you heard the question right there. I mean, they're currently 3 games back from that Dallas Maverick team who is in 10th. Dallas at 33 and 36. Portland at 30 and 29. They got a 2-game cushion between them and the Suns. So can Portland close that gap? That's interesting. I said this earlier when we broke this down a few days ago. We'll go back to my numbers when we get to the end of the season, see if they're close. But I truly believe that when you look at the schedule and how things play out, that Dallas holds on to that. I don't know if they let go. Now, Phoenix, on the other hand, they have 1-1. They're 32 and 37, but they have an absolute gauntlet to get through at the end of the year. And you have Portland. Portland does have some tough games. Obviously, the next 4 of them, we've talked about that multiple times. Memphis, Denver, Boston, Cleveland. But they also have Sacramento, Atlanta, Toronto, Chicago, San Antonio, and Utah in these next games. So they are going to have winnable games. The only question is, can they win, 4 more games than Dallas down the stretch? I don't see it. 13 games remaining. You got to win 4 more in that stretch than Dallas. I just don't see that happening. So I think Dallas holds on. But it's going to be an interesting race nonetheless. And, of course, I know you got plenty of Blazer fans looking at the Tankathon standings, too. Those matter. Portland still has holding on to that small little chance, right, of getting the number 1 overall pick. But each win pulls them just a little bit further away. Currently the 11th worst record in the league. So they have a 2% chance at number 1, a 9% chance of getting top 4. At this point. But I do want to reiterate that you look at those standings, man, and yeah, Portland's at 11, but is that necessarily a bad thing? I think it shows that this team is definitely moving forward, right? They're winning more than they have in the last 2 years. They're not sitting at 7 right now. Now they could. They're still right there. They very possibly could get the 8th spot, but I do like what I'm seeing from this Blazers team regardless. We'll see how the season goes out. If they lose more or win more, doesn't matter. Again, I just want to see how this team plays, how they develop over the remaining stretch of games. If you want to join in on the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, where Timmy asks, if the Grizzlies bench all their players tonight, would it be considered tanking? No, it wouldn't be considered tanking. It would be considered refueling a tank. Right, because you did not help the Blazers tank. You may have helped some other teams tank in that situation, right? If you help the Blazers win, you have helped the Wizards and the Jazz. And currently, like I say, when you look at Tankathon, the Blazers are in a race for that 8th spot with San Antonio, Miami, and Chicago. So if you sit all your starters, that's not tanking. It is definitely helping the San Antonio, Miami, Chicago tanks, though. It's dispersing your fuel everywhere but Portland. That's what that is, Timmy. Thanks for the comment. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, it's time for our keys to the game. What do the Blazers have to do to take down the Memphis Grizzlies? Of course, the Memphis Grizzlies without star point guard Ja Morant tonight. And I did see on social media people pointing out that he's either been injured or suspended now multiple times when they come to Portland. He hasn't played in Portland since 2022. That's just a travesty. Portland fans deserve to see Ja. He's amazing. We deserve to see that those highlight jams and the awesome player that he is. But he won't be playing tonight. Can Portland take advantage? We'll find out. Tip-off Blazers Grizzlies in about an hour and 15 minutes. And you'll be able to listen to it all right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, Rip City, time now for our keys to the game. What do the Blazers need to do to get a victory over the Memphis Grizzlies? And, of course, the Grizzlies will be without Ja Morant tonight, so that helps. But the Blazers will still need to be on their absolute A-game to knock off this team, because even without its stars, they are still tough. And in the 2 times that they've already played this year, Memphis has won both games. Of course, people remember that November 10th game. That was an ugly one, 134-89 loss. But you know what, man? Oh, the offense for Memphis has cruised when they play the Trailblazers. In those 2 games, they are averaging 128.5 points per game. Meanwhile, the Blazers have yet to surpass 100 points. They scored 89 and 98 points in those 2 losses. So one key for the Blazers today is they got to get into the triple digits in scoring. They got to get up over 100 to even stand a chance. So watch that scoreboard, man, because it's not going to be a situation where they get a lot of stops against Memphis. At least that has been the historical case this season. Also, they got to find ways to crash the glass. Again, no Ja Morant does help in this one, but you still got to find ways to get going. Offensively, defensively, and like I said, cleaning the glass. In that last game that they lost to Memphis, again, the final score in that one was 123-98. Portland got absolutely destroyed on the glass, 60-44 in favor of the Memphis Grizzlies, and Santi Aldama had 17 of those rebounds. So Portland has really got to lean into Donovan Clingan, obviously Tumani Kamara, Chris Murray, who was great on the glass last game. Those guys got to find ways to just get very, very active on the glass. Can't afford to let Memphis get that lead, because good things happen there. And lastly, you got to find ways to make it hard for Memphis to get into a groove. And that defeat at the hands of the Grizzlies back on November 25th, the Grizzlies had 35 assists. Portland had just 22, so again, you got to find ways to make it rough. And it's going to be rough without Ja Morant. Ja Morant had 11 of those 35 assists. But again, they also had just 43 made field goals. 35 assists on 43 made field goals. That is an incredible ratio for the Memphis Grizzlies. So you got to find ways to force them into a little bit of action that they don't like to be in. Some ISO situations where they're not passing the ball, they're not moving within the comfort of their offense, and then that can get them to wobble a little bit. That's what you need to do if you're the Portland Trailblazers. On the positive side for the Portland Trailblazers, you have Matisse Thybulle tonight. And if there's a guy on that roster outside of Tumani Kamara who can knock a team off defensively, it's Matisse Thybulle. So they're going to need him at his absolute best tonight, along with Tumani Kamara. And then, of course, we'll see what Denny Avdia can do. He's been great on that side. Also going to be nice to see Donovan Clingan get a real nice run against Memphis. You need the best out of him. He's been really good now, especially with DeAndre Ayton out and Robert Williams out. It's been really nice to see Donovan Clingan get those big runs, get those starts, and get big minutes. So it's going to be nice to see him get active on the glass tonight, because Portland's going to need him. They're going to need everything they can get from him, not only defensively, but absolutely going to be critical on the boards. Critical on the boards. So that's what they're going to need from him. And, of course, maybe you get a bigger battle, you know. See down there, show Zach Edey. Yeah, I'm the guy. I'm the guy. All right, that's going to do it for Blazers Game Day. But don't go anywhere, because coming up next, Chad Dewing will have the Trailblazers pregame show across the Trailblazers audio network. Tip-off at 7 o'clock, your radio voice of the Trailblazers, Travis Demers, will be on the call. And, of course, when it's all said and done, keep it locked in here to Rip City Radio for the 5th quarter, where hopefully we're breaking down another Trailblazers victory. Rip City, it's Blazers versus the Grizzlies, all right here on Rip City Radio. And I will talk to you after the game.